like as it recovers, it turns brown. The little
Okay.
like square thing, healing, and had a big one, like super big. But then I accidentally like went like this, and it came off, and so that's why you can't see it. And also the hole is still there, but it's not as detectable as
Okay.
last week.
But I'm so glad you're really all right this week. Everything looks good. Um, so I'm going to start today. We're going to talk about something very simple, but and I base this on the question that Angel asked the last time. Angel's like, okay, how do I, if I really, if I'm not mistaken, the question is, how do I really quantify my dream to know, is this really visible? Is this possible? Am I right, Angel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I begin to think, okay, we probably might have some challenges in how do we really actually go into the place of conceiving the dream. Because if we don't understand how to conceive the dream, we can't have the dream. It can't become a reality. And I think that's what I'm looking at. Now, if we understand the concept of saying, I know how to conceive, there's no way to ask the question is, how big can that baby be? Because it's not about the baby at the point of conception. It's first of all, it's about conceiving. You kind of understand what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm just gonna share that's what this today's teaching is gonna be based on. And I want to like try and see if I can share my screen to just show you guys what I have on slides, and we can go from there. I hope we'll be able to get something out of it today. All right, can you guys see the slides?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, today's, and this is what we want to talk about. This is the agenda for today. We'll talk about transformation. I really want to start from transformation because I think it's very important we understand the concept of transformation. Because what we're trying to do is we're starting from who we are to who we want to be. So that's the change, that's transformation. And I'm going to talk about great circle. I think I already touched about the great circle one time. If you guys can still remember that. All right, I'll show you guys. And then finally, I'll talk about the dream concept. I don't want to like exceed like 45 minutes. If I reach 45 minutes, guys, let me know and say, okay, we're done for the day.
Okay.
Now, now transformation. So this is why this is very important. So I try to let people understand there's a difference between what goes on in your head and what goes on in your heart. And now, can you guys read the slide? Can you see the slide? Can you read it?
Yes.
Okay. So with your head, you process information like data analysis, okay, these and that, and you think through stuff, you analyze things, your reasoning, your thoughts. Even that's the reason I wrote confusion there is when things are in our head and we're trying to like make decisions and we can't really get through that. What should I do? Should I go right or should I go left? Or should I go to the front or back? We find ourselves in the place where we can't make the right decision. Those are things that happen in our head because we analyze things with our understanding, our senses and stuff like that. We put data together and we start thinking about stuff like that. Now, but what goes on in your heart? The heart is a place where transformation takes place. The heart is a place where you believe. That's where your conviction comes from. Your conviction is not just a head knowledge concept. Your conviction is in your heart. Now, you might, the little difference between this is, see, your head is what speaks louder because your head relates with the senses, what you see, what you feel. Your feelings, your emotion, what you can see, or what's physical to you. But your heart is like it operates in the invisible dimension, like what your imagination is. I think some people they use the word subconscious. You understand what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
use the word subconscious. But the difference there is belief that change your life starts and works and takes effect in your heart, not in your head. Now, if you will understand this better, it's not everything that you listen to, you hear, or that you believe. Anything you don't believe is not part of what's going to influence you and change you. People might tell you like something 100 times. If you don't believe it, he's not going to do anything to you because that information is being processed, it's not processed by you. When you process information in your head and then you start thinking about it, until it comes to the point in time when that information sinks into your heart. Like other people call it the subconscious. That's when you believe in those things. And sometimes it happens unconsciously, but you can also consciously, work it out. Do we understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I've done that.
What about it? I can't hear Diamond. Does she understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so having said that, when you have an idea and you're thinking about an idea and you're analyzing things in your mind and you say, okay, should I go or should I not go? Or what do I want to do with my life and stuff like that? You're playing that game in your head. You don't have the conviction yet. You're not sure yet. You don't have a belief about anything. You're just like, assuming your heart is blank and you're just thinking about stuff. But the moment you said, okay, I figured out that I want to be a nurse. And you have to begin to believe that becoming a nurse is what is meant for you. That's the point whereby that information has processed from your head and has gone into the place where you have believed it's gone into your heart. There is nothing that happens in your head that becomes a belief and a conviction for you if it doesn't go into your heart. That's why it's so very challenging to have a dream because people say, am I sure that this dream is going to be a reality? Because it seems like every other thing that I see every day, I can't just walk to a building and say, I want to like have this building to myself. It's just an information in the air. There's no conviction about it. There's nothing, there's no belief that tells you you will be able to have that building to yourself. It's not possible. It doesn't work like that. But what we're trying to do is how do we get information that goes into our head and turn it into something we believe that goes into our heart and becomes part of our life? So I just discovered that I might decide to be talking about dream forever. I might talk about dream for 5 years and say, hey, you guys gonna have a big dream. You have to have a big dream. And you just like, you might finish and say, well, he just kept saying we have to have a big dream, but I really don't understand how that works. I want to have a big dream, but can I dream like I'm going to be the president of US tomorrow? Is it going to happen like that? Then you begin to question yourself and say, well, how does it work? And I want to talk about that today. But first of all, I want you to understand when you receive information, the information passes through your head, your senses, you analyze data, you understand concept, but those are mere information. He hasn't changed the concept of who you are. He hasn't changed you as a person. Before any information, before any idea changes you as a person, that idea must go into the place of your conviction. Before an idea becomes something you believe and it begins to influence your behavior, it has to go into your heart. And that's why I say, so when information goes into your heart, it becomes a conviction. Those information are not things that you get confused about because you've already made them. Like think about the things you believe now as a person. You're not confused about those things because it's not a head knowledge. It's beyond your head knowledge. It's become an information that has transformed you over the time period. If you look at your gender, you grow up to understand, to believe what your gender is. You're not confused about that. So you grew up believing, okay, this is my gender, this is who I am. Those are not information in your head. You can't look at the mirror tomorrow and say, whoa, I'm not looking like a human being. I think I'm apes. You can't say that because no, that belief is not in you. It was not planted in you. So I just want you to understand information that transforms you does not stay in your head. It goes into your heart to change you. Any information that cannot find its way into your heart can never become what you believe, and it cannot become what you will behave in life. So why am I saying that? When it comes to dream concept, if you don't believe an idea, that idea can never become your dream. I'm going to move from here to the next slide. And now I'm going to explain what I'm just saying with a great circle. So it's just I'm trying to showcase for you that you have in the center, that your center of being, it's your heart as your person. I don't know, maybe anybody ever taught you guys that you, as human being, the way we are spirit being, we have a soul, and we live in a body. Have you guys ever heard that before?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. So now that you know that, everything, every conviction that happens in your life that makes you to believe for something happens in your heart, which is your spirit. When I say your heart, I'm not talking about your biology organ that pumps the blood. That's not your heart. Your heart is your spirit because you're a spirit person. Belief doesn't happen. Conviction and belief doesn't happen in your head. You might just say, okay, I believe what that guy is saying. Now, there are two different kind of belief now. If somebody say, hey, Angel, I like you. You look good. You say, I believe what that guy's saying. But that belief is not the one that transforms your life to change you. That doesn't do anything to you. It's just a mere information about something. But if somebody walk up to you and say, hey, Diamond, do you know that you can fly? And you begin to think about it, how is it possible? How can I fly? I'm a human being. I don't have a wing. Whatever will make that person to plant the idea in you, and if that information goes into your heart, it becomes a conviction to you, you will discover that you will find a way to be able to fly. And I'm going to explain that concept, how it works. The person say, hey, Diamond, you can fly. The person doesn't say, Diamond, you have wings or you need wings. It just say you can fly. And then once the person say you can fly, you might take it as a mere information and say, I don't believe what this guy is saying, just throw it out. But then if you receive that information and you begin to process it in your mind and it goes into your heart and you begin to tell yourself, I can really fly. At that point in time, if it becomes a conviction for you, you begin to behave that character and say, I know I can fly. Now, when you have that conviction and you say, you know, I can fly, the resources and the intelligence that you need to understand how can you be a human being to fly from where you are, that idea and belief that you can fly begin to attract those other revelations and understanding that you want to fly because it has become a conviction in you. That's why it's very important what you believe. It's not just you receive an information. And let me give another example. As a student, we go to class all the time. We receive a bunch of information about different subjects. There are so many of those information that does not change the way we believe or who we are as a person. Let me use that word, who we are as a person. Any information that you receive and doesn't change who you are as a person and doesn't change the way you behave, that information have not accessed your heart. But any information that you receive and it goes into you and changes the way you see things, changes your perspective of life, changes how you believe about yourself. You see the word believe. That information become a transformational information because it changes your perceptions of reality and changes how you see things. And at the end of the day, that information has become your belief and your conviction is going to change the way you behave in life. Am I making sense? Do you guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so an idea is like a seed. Idea is what rules the world. Everybody know that. Now, where do you think those idea comes from?
From the
Where do you
world?
think? From where?
From the world?
From the world. Okay. If you have an idea now to do something, to become somebody great in life, where is that idea coming from?
From yourself?
From yourself. Okay. Now I'm going to make you understand one statement. Everything you see in the world is from an idea, right? Every interaction you have with people or event and things around you came from from an idea. Now, there is nothing in this world that you see that is not birthed from an idea. I want you to understand you cannot go through your days without having contact with other people's idea. You see them all the time. Our survivor in this life thrives on ideas. Our success comes from how we can treat ideas within us and allow it to grow as a seed. So you have all the capability to create an idea. But I use the word create, means an idea is going to come into you. You are not the source of that idea. It just came into you, but you are the carrier of that idea. And that idea, before it becomes something of great substance, you have to believe in that idea first. You have to believe in that idea. That's why we have thousands of ideas that run through our mind every single day. If I tell you, capture your thought from 7 a.m. this morning that you wake up to 12, you will not be able to tell me these are all the series of thoughts that came into my mind. So they flow like thoughts. But until you understand the value of what they are, before you begin to capture them and say, that's not just a mere thought, that's an idea. I'm going to write it down and I'm going to do something with it. But even if you have 5,000 ideas, until those ideas become what you believe, that idea, it's not going to work for you. So that's going to take me to, I'm going to speak about how you conceive the conception of your idea before it becomes a dream. I'm going to explain that because what I want us to take away from here is I want to stop from from talking about have a dream, but then we don't understand what is this concept of approaching to having a dream. How can I sit down in my house and I say, hey, one day I'm going to like run a business that's going to be as expensive or as huge as big as $100 million. How can I sit down in my little room and have that dream? How does that work? Because if you don't understand how it works, we're just going to like saying, well, this is like kind of an illusion. I don't think this is real. So 99% of everything, always remember that 99% of the success and greatness is what you have and you carry around you daily. It's in you. That's why I put a 99.9%. But you have to believe. If you don't believe those ideas, it's as much as like so many things you thought about today from 7 a.m. to this time. How many of those things do you really think is going to transform your life? How many of those things you thought about today that you've written down, you say, this is where I'm going to? It's going to be a bunch of informations. But when you get those ideas and you believe it, then you have created a concept that will turn to become a reality. It is the same thought. It is the same thing that flows everywhere. When you wake up today, you might have had a thought that's like worth $1 billion, but because you don't really know what to do with it, you just throw it in the trash of delete in your mind. Now I'm going to show us this next slide is just to give us an understanding of the importance of understanding what our ideas what they are worth. Because when we understand what they are worth, it's not really like to tell you the monetary value, but to tell you the concept of what it is. Now, look at the slide. This is a statement from Napoleon Hill. And categorically, it just tells you this is it. This is a source of, this is the basic of any transformation in life. This is it. Those that influences our world today and those who created our civilizations are all dreamers. Nobody can turn things around in this world except they have the dream. There is no single invention or ideas that turns into a reality that was not first conceived. That's the word, conceived. When idea become conceived, that's the beginning of a dream. When your idea become conceived within you, that's the beginning of an idea. Now we all understand what it means for, let's say, a woman to have a conception or to conceive a baby or something like that. I'm going to talk about that one very soon, and that's what I'm going to use to explain this quotations from these quotes from Napoleon Hill. Now, he say, those that influences our world today, anyone, think about that person that is up there changing things around the world today. Those who created our civilization, think about anyone who has contributed to civilization of humanity, or technology, or policy, or whatever, politics and any kind of things like that, inventions and innovations. They are all dreamers. But how did they get there? He said there is no single invention or idea that turns into reality that was not first conceived. Because I have an idea does not mean that idea has been conceived in me. Now, I wanted you to understand, if you understand this and you are clear with this, that's all you need. I will explain this further. Now, look at this also. Human development and growth became a reality through the power of a dream, which conveys the ability and credentials to transmit imaginations and ideas into desired results. The power of a dream. The first one talks about idea is first conceived. If your idea is not conceived, now that because you have a thought doesn't mean it has become a tangible force, because we think about billions of things in a day. And most of those things just flick through our mind like watching a screen. But if you capture one of those thoughts as a unified concept, it becomes an idea, and then you put it in your heart to conceive it. That's where a dream starts from. It's not just think. It's not like, okay, I want to have a dream. One day I'm just going to have an airport. Yeah, that's a thought. But is that an idea? Has it been conceived? Now, let me give you another example. Here we go. How do I conceive? How do I conceive? I want to have a big dream, but I know that everything starts with an idea and first has to be conceived. So how do I conceive? It's the same thing. I'll ask you, conception is like planting a seed. Conception is like planting a seed, or the process of thinking about idea until it becomes what you certainly believe. It has to become something you certainly believe. Let me give you an example. Take an example in human conception. Now, there is a process of egg fertilization, and which requires the combinations of the eggs and the sperms. We understand that, right? But does not mean because a man and a woman mate all the day mean that there's a conception. Does it mean that? The intimacy between a man and a woman every single day doesn't mean that the woman has conceived, right? Am I making sense? So even if they like, they can mate from January to December. There is a concept that has to happen before the woman conceive. You can't just say, well, because I mate yesterday, I mate today, I'm not, oh, now I've conceived. No, it's beyond that. There is something that happens that has to do with the fertilization of the egg and the sperm. If there's no interaction between the egg and the sperm, there is no conception. But the moment the sperm hits the egg, something happened. That's conceived. So the same thing is, because you think every day about something, because I think about the airport, because I think about money, doesn't mean I've conceived a dream. Because the thought is coming to your mind every day doesn't mean it has become an established, dream. But when you take a particular thought, which is like an idea, and that idea, you place that idea in your mind, you continually think about the idea, and that idea goes into your heart, it becomes your belief. The moment you begin to believe in an idea, and it begin to send you a kind of waves of like saying, this is beyond just a mere information. You are in the process of conceiving that idea. When you hold that idea in your heart to the point whereby you believe it so strongly, and you wake up, you're thinking about it. You want to go to bed, you're thinking about that same idea. And you're telling yourself on a regular basis, it's what I'm going to become. This is going to happen for me. And you can't separate those things from yourself. You have conceived that idea. And how further can you know what happens after conception? Let's go. Let's take example for women. What happened after conception? Things begin to change. The diet changes. The way they think changes. The way they carry their body changes. And sometimes their taste also change. What is it that happened to them that everything does begin to change? Because they conceive. There is something that is living inside of them now. Your dream, it's like a living organism inside of your heart. Do you know that the egg has life and the sperm has life? So the same way your idea has life. Now, when the idea passes through your mind and goes into your heart and becomes a conviction, and you believe that idea, that life begins to grow inside of you. It changes the way you see things. When it begins to change the way you see things, that exactly tells you that there is a life inside of you that is beyond the normal life you normally live before. And it influences the way you make decisions around the people you've been making decisions with. It influences your perspective. It changes your taste. Sometimes it goes to your finance. You say, well, I can't spend money like this because I know I have a dream. And my dream tells me I have to invest. It changes the people you talk to. Well, I can't go around this person because where they're going is not where I'm going to. Why are you making those changes? Because you have conceived something inside of you. And that thing begin to change the way you behave. It's because you believe in that idea that has become your dream. That's why it begin to influence your decision process and what you do, how you do those things, where you go, and who you talk to. That point in time tells you you have a dream inside of you. Others may not see, but you know it's influencing and changing the way you do things. When you go around people for, like ladies when they conceive and when they know they're pregnant, when they go to places, they're like, oh, I don't want to drink alcohol because they know, well, I think I'm carrying a baby. I can't do that. That's the same thing that begin to happen to you. You go to places and you're like, no, I'm not interested in those things. Why? Because there's something inside of you. I don't know if we understand what I'm talking about. Am I clear enough?
I have a question.
Yeah, good. I like that. I want to I want to hear your question.
Okay. Okay, so if a dream stems out of a belief, it comes out of the heart, and something that goes into the heart starts from an idea, then to conceive that belief, what kind of ideas or thoughts should I be having to be able to start conceiving the belief that will then become my dream?
Okay, so I'm gonna get there, but I'll give you this example.
Okay.
Let me give you this example. So for like almost 3 weeks, or 1 week, or almost 3 weeks, I have this thought in my mind, like I want to have a property in West Africa, Nigeria, precisely. So the thought just came to my mind. I was like, I want to have a property there, and the thoughts keep coming to my mind, like I want to have something there. And 2 days ago, I told my wife, I said, we need to buy a house somewhere in Nigeria, but I don't know. I don't have an idea of what kind of the house should we buy, what should it look like. So 2 days ago, I just sat down. I said, okay, sit down and draw what you want. And I said, okay, I need a building which is going to be 8 bedrooms, 7 baths. And then I begin to talk about it and I begin to picture it together. Now it's no more a thought, it's an idea. Why did that idea come? Why did the idea come from? Why? Because I know in the future I have something to do in that location. I know I'm going to have a business in that location. So I begin to think about it. Like, why didn't I tell myself I want to go and buy property in Australia? I have nothing to do in Australia at this point in time. So that's what is called strategic location. It's part of things you think about. Where am I going in life? What do I want to do in life? So what is the idea that surrounds the things that I want to do? Why am I not thinking of buying a property in Bahamas? I don't have a vision for Bahamas, but I have a vision for Nigeria. So because I have a vision for Nigeria, then idea begin to pop up in my mind about having a secure property in that place, which is going to cost me millions of dollars. But first, the money is not the problem. The problem is, first of all, I have to conceive that idea. It has to become a dream. And I have to be so specific what I'm looking for. So I said 8 rooms and 7 baths. And I begin to talk to my wife about it. Why? Because I understand your dreams are not just figments of your imagination. They are real. So for the fact that that thought popped up in my mind is not a mere thought. So I have to take that thought and make it an idea and conceive it until I begin to believe in it. How am I going to believe in it? Because it's going to influence what I'm doing. So I have to bring out a paper and start writing what I want to see. I want to have a conference center in that same building. I want to have a swimming pool in that building. I want to have an office complex in that building. So when I show it to my wife said, well, this is not just a story building. It's going to be like 2 or 3 story building. And then that idea, because it now it's become conceived in my mind, I went to the internet to Google what I think it's going to look like. So because I believe in those things, it started motivating and beginning to influence what I'm doing. And I have to write it down and I have to put the picture in my mind. And not only that, I went further. I called people. I called 3 people. I said, if I want to get a property in this part of the country and this location, how much is it going to cost me? What area are you thinking about and stuff? And they begin to give me idea. And that idea begin to formulate some of the picture and imagination that I'm having in my mind. And see, now I'm talking to you guys about it. Why? Because I have conceived it. If we're just a mere thought, I'm not going to remember. I'm not even going to talk about it, but because it is real. But to answer your question, Angel, this idea revolves around my vision, what I've seen for myself that I want to do in the future. I want to go over to that country and teach people the same thing I'm teaching here right now. And I know I'm going to need the property and stuff like that. So my dream is also centered, my idea and my thought is centered on this location. And I begin to look for what am I going to need to facilitate my organization, to facilitate what I'm building. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I'm into a fishing business, am I probably going to think, okay, I have to go to the Bahamas and find a property by the sea and start having that port, because I already know where I'm going to. First of all, you have to know where you're going to. You have to know what you want, and I'm going to get there. Are we still within the right time?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me move to the, do you have any question about this slide?
No.
How do I conceive? And what happens after conception? You know what happens after conception is because of the dream you have, because of that thing either going to influence. Now, this is how you know if you really have this dream. You know, sometimes some females will think, well, I'm not sure if I've taken in or not. I'm not sure if I'm pregnant or not. But they can't feel anything and it's not. But at a certain time, you might not feel anything from initial step. But 2 months, 3 months going into it, and you can't see anything, you can't feel anything, you probably, the statistics will tell you, I don't think I have anything inside of me. But within a month, and you begin to feel, whoa, this idea keep coming back into your mind. You can't get rid of it. And you're watching TV, and when things are popping up on the TV, it's just connecting you to, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, I thought about this thing last time. Oh, yeah, I think, yeah. If it start popping up like that, you know you have something inside of you. If you go to the store and you say, oh, you want to buy bread, and then you're going on the line, you see a magazine, and the magazine shows something, a picture that reflects what you're thinking, and it attracts you. That tells you something is inside of you already. And it begin to influence you. Now, what is the power of a dream? You remember that this quote that this guy says, it says, human development and growth became a reality through power of a dream, which conveys the ability and credential. The issue we're looking for right now is the credential. What is the credential that you have that guarantees you have a future? What are the credentials? I'm telling you, there's no two credentials that tells you have a future. It's your dream. Your dream is that credential. Because you know what? You cannot see the future right now. You can't see 10 years right now. The only way you can see 10 years right now is through your dream. The only way you can actually specifically tell somebody about 10 years now is when you have it as a dream and you can map it out and you can tell somebody and you can see yourself in it. So that's what the quote is saying. It said the dream is what has the power to convey the credentials you have, which is your imaginations, to make them become a reality. See, which conveys the ability and credentials to transmit imagination and ideas into desired results. Dream is what makes it happen. It takes your ability, your credential, and transmit them through your imagination and idea into a desired result. So you have a future you want to go to now. But how do you get to that? What tells you that you're qualified to see that future happens? It's your dream. But then what tells you have a dream? The idea has to be conceived. If the idea is not conceived, you don't have a dream. What tells a couple they're going to have a baby? Well, because the woman is pregnant. If the woman is not pregnant, baby is not coming from anywhere. It's as simple as that. If you understand the concept of conceiving, then you know how to have a dream. And there's no way you say, I've conceived something, if you don't believe in that thing. It's the moment in which you believe in that very concept and it begin to change and influence what you do. That's when you know this thing has come to stay in my life. And then also I want you to understand, if something is not what you believe, that thing, if you don't believe in it, that thing is not part of your life. Everything that is reflection of your life now are based on the things that you have believed in your life. There is nothing you're going to see happen in your life if you don't believe it. The life that you are living now is a reflection of the things which you have believed. If you're in college, it's because you have believed in education. That's why you're in college. If you have anything right now that you believe, it's part of your life. But is there anything you say, oh, I want to see in my life, but you don't believe it? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just like somebody say, I want to have a baby, but then you've not conceived. The baby is not going to come. So belief is the basis of this, of your starting to have a big dream. Now think about this. This is another way. If you see that slide, that's another way to conceive. It said every man is what he is because of what the dominating thought. So you focus on a particular thought and you permit that thought in your mind. You deliberately place that thought and you encourage it and you separate yourself and you begin to think about it. It's just like the power of repetition. You're telling yourself, you keep thinking about it. You like incubation. You sit on that thought and you say, I want to be this. I want to be this. You write it down. You put it by your wall. And you wake up, you're staring at this thing. Before you go to bed, you're staring at this thing. And you keep on thinking about it. There is no way one day you're going to believe in that thing because it's going to be a part of your subconscious. It's going to be part of your subconscious. And then once you discover, that's why some people are like, they have a celebrity crush on somebody. And when you get to their room, you see the posters of that person in their room. You see everything. But what do you think they do? If they become a celebrity crush on that person, wherever they go to, they buy any souvenir that reflect that person's image. If it's a songwriter or a musician, you know that, check that person's iPod or whatever, you're going to see the song of their celebrity crush there. It begins to influence what they do. If that person is having a concert, if Beyonce is my celebrity crush, if she's coming to El Paso, I'm like, oh God, I have to go and see Beyonce. It doesn't matter how much it's going to cost me because I have allowed it to become a belief in me that this person is part of my life and it's going to influence decision I'm going to make. But if you've not been able to believe something, that thing is not part of your life. If you can't believe your dream is not part of your life. And if it's not part of your life, you can't have it. It's not going to happen. Now, this is what I want us to do. You have to be able to categorically say what you want in life, who you want to become. You have to be able to say that. You have to be able to, you remember we are on a timeline of the 10 years and it's like we are 2 years now. We have 8 years more and somebody say 15 years. I think, Damon, you say 15 years, right? So Angel said 11, I think I said 10. The time is ticking every day. What are we doing to get to that place? You remember what we discussed about? We said, when do you think you will get to that point in time in your life that you have everything you want and you're sitting down in your house by the pool and you say, the reason I'm not going to work today is if I don't work for the rest of my life, I already have everything I want. And that's when we put that timeline. And then Diamond said 15 years, Angel said 11, I say 10. And we said that last year. So Diamond has 14 more years. Angel's got 10. I got 9. So that's very easy. Where are we going to? Who do you want to be? Now, when you understand that, when do you think it's going to take you to get to that place? Then you have to write the goals that you think you'll be able to achieve those things. When you have the goals written, do I need to go to school to acquire this knowledge? Do I need to learn about business? Do I need to start a business? Okay, how long is it going to take me? You have to have a goal to achieve this. Then you have to have a plan. Not only do I have a goal, what plan do I need to put in place to make sure I follow these goals? When you have those goals, those plans, you have to make deliberate action to follow. Just like you remember, we always use this illustration. And one of the illustration we use is, you know, the day you got admission into UTEP, you already know it's going to take you how many years? You already know you're going to start from freshman, whatever the next 2 years, 3 years, you know. Why? Because the school have already created a curriculum for you. And then breaking everything down into semesters. The same way you have to do for your own life too. So Diamond, you have 14 years to put all those plans together. Angel's got 10, I got 9. And believe me, guys, this is one of my own plan. This is it that I'm doing right now. So while I'm doing mine, you have also need to start doing yours. It might be part of your classes you're taking in college. But every day you have to take a step towards that final destination. And then at the end of the day, you have to be able to say, this is who I am. This is who I am, and this is what I have. It's as simple as that. This is who I am. Because remember from the beginning, you say what I want, who I want to become. And when you follow this process, at the end of it, the destination, the final thing is to say, now this is who I am, and this is what I have. So the logic is you have to start from the bottom. Start from who you want to become and what you want to have. And you have to write that in the present tense. This is it. Think about that. This is like kind of where I want to be, who I want to be. So when I wake up every day, I see myself in this picture. I don't see myself as Sam that just live in El Paso. That's not all I see about myself. I said I'm the president of a Life Impact Organization, the world's largest training and transformation organization, impacting millions of lives across the globe. A #1 Fortune 500 company. It's as simple as to know, okay, this is where I'm going to in life. And that compels me to make decisions. Now, this is just the final statement. This is me in 9 years. But then what do I need to do every single day? I have to know how long it's going to take me. Goals, do I need to achieve that? Plans to work the goals out. The deliberate action to discipline myself to stay on course. You have to have this. And then this is it. And then this is the final slide. The dream is a credential. If you don't have that dream, you don't have a credential for the future. If you don't have that dream, you don't have the credential. You are the only one who know what you want. You are the only one who know who you want to become. You have to write it down. You have to be able to look at this thing every single day and say, this is who I am. Even though you're going to that place in the future, but because your dream is a reality, you begin to see yourself in that current status and begin to speak it to yourself until, once you conceive it, that concept begin to grow in you like the baby will grow in the womb. You don't need to check the womb every day to see if the baby is growing. The baby is growing, just continue to eat. So that's how your dream mature. Just continue. You'll see that even if you don't know what you don't need to do and what you see, because you conceive that baby, you will know that your taste for some things is just going to die. And then you begin to crave for something. That's what your dream will do to you. It changes you. And that should be the end of our timeline today. I want to hear your questions. There should be a lot of questions for me today.
Oh, are we still recording?
You say, well, I can hear you.
Are we still recording?
Oh, I can stop recording right now.
No.
All right. What question do you have? I'm trying to get out of this. Okay, I've seen this, what I'm looking for. Questions?
So what are you keeping documentation? That's what this is now?
Say that again.
Are you keeping documentation now?